Good evening. This is the regular City Council meeting of Hawarden, Iowa. It is Wednesday, December 11th, 2024 at 5:30. At this time, Monty Harvey is not present. We do have Derek Allen is on the phone. Gary Tucker is not with us at this time. He may be coming later. First on the agenda is approval of the November 13th, 2024 regular council meeting minutes and the November 26th, 2024 special council meeting minutes. Have a motion, please.
So move.
And a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of passing those minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 4-0. 1B, approval of the December 11, 2024 claims for payment. Are there any questions on that? If not, a motion?
I make a motion to approve the claims for payment.
And a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of approval of the December 11th, 2024 claims for payment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Passes 4-0. At this time, we have open business from the community. Would anyone like to speak tonight? And for the record, if you just state your name and address.
Sure, Mike DeBryan, 1321 14th Street Place, Hawarden. So at the November 26th council meeting, I was in attendance, and one of our council people, Ms. Anderson, read from a couple-page statement, and I would like to address a couple other things she read from. One of them was about the city's funds, and quoting her in that statement, the city is working to turn around past administration and finance who didn't record auditors' year-end statements entries to cash for some time to all the city's fund. What does this mean? Many funds have the wrong cash balances and have to be adjusted to what they should be. No staff here is responsible. I did a public records request to get the cash funds and the statements and any emails from the auditors that pertain to this, and examining the cash balances and year-end adjustments. Any transactions that the auditors recommended making had absolutely no effect on the cash balances. The cash balances were always correct. Even reading this email that went to you as well, Patty, it says in here from the auditors, the reconciliation shows me that cash in total was always right. So when you made that statement, you were either didn't read the email or you were just telling the public or setting an alarm off to the public to justify your means, justifying an end to your means. Went on to say that due to the wrong cash balances, the city cannot continue to transfer more money from the largest utilities that make the most profit, like electric and gas. Went on to say the funds, one of those funds is negative by about $300,000. In looking at the fund balances, I can't find one that's negative about $300,000 except for telephone, which is actually in the red by $873,000. So telephone, folks, but that's a whole conversation for a whole past, I guess, 3 years ago, right? So the other ones, gas and electric, are very healthy. So I don't know which one you're talking about there. So either you're, like I said, sounding an alarm to justify what you're trying to do, and then throwing past administrations, me being one of those, and I don't know who you're talking about, you didn't specify, throwing those people under the bus to clear yourself, but you are very inaccurate in making things up. So, and in total, the city's funds in the bank are over $12 million. So the city's still sitting in a very good place. So then I want to go into flood expenses. So we talked about, or it was talked about the other night, that the city has $2.6 to $2.7 million in expenses they're going to have to cover, right? So out of those expenses, 1.1 million of that expense is if the city does the housing buyout. And that's if they do it instead of FEMA doing it, correct? Out of that, that's $1.1 million. That's to buy the property and demolish the property. But from what I understand from reading council minutes, watching council meetings, you guys haven't even decided to do that. But yet you're touting it to the public that you guys got $2.7 million in flood expenses you have to do. You don't have to do it. FEMA will do the buyout, right? So I just wanted to clear those things up, if not for you, for the public or for the newspaper or whoever's watching, because when I see this in print in the newspaper, and Katie, this is, you do a very good job, but when you throw past administration under the bus with things that are inaccurate, I gotta call it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
John Gray, still from Hawarden. First, I want to wish my daughter happy birthday. Is that embarrassing? And I want to thank, let's see, it's been a long time coming to get this dog ordinance on the agenda. From the dog attack last September at the dog park, not this last September, but a year ago from that, or a year from that. And what did we learn from that? Let's see. See, the dog was released into a neighboring community. We learned that. We learned that pit bulls were removed off the dangerous animal list because the previous administration lied to the city council to get it removed, and then the ordinance wasn't, that's all that was taken off. Once you do that, a lot of that ordinance had nothing to do with anything. So it's been a long time to get this fixed. Hopefully it will be. I trust the current police chief and the wording of the old ordinance because it said may investigate, and I trust that his may is will. But I think we need to get that in the ordinance, that must or shall investigate any dog attack. And that's about it. So if I'm throwing a previous administration underneath the bus, you can surely look at the meeting videos where the council's lied to 3 meetings in a row about removing pit bulls off the agenda. And Christy, Patty, thank you for working on that.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We'll move on to the mayor's report. I would just like to express how well I thought the Callao Village and Hawarden, what it's called. Hawarden Holiday Express, thank you. Was a wonderful experience for us. The whole day was great. Some of the people that need to be thanked are Emma Boza and the Hawarden Arts Council. They were in charge of it all and arranged it. LG Everest, D&I Railroad, the Hawarden Historical Society, the Hawarden Chamber of Commerce, Hawarden Fire and Rescue, the City of Hawarden, Hawarden Public Library, Link West, Mario Ramos, and many others that were involved in the event and the weekend, really. It shows what can be done when we work together, and it was very well received, and I thank you very much for your work on that. With that, we'll go on to staff reports. Gary's not here at this time. Tracy?
I have nothing to report at this point.
Okay. Travis?
I've got an update on the substation. Circuit switchers The delivery of those have been delayed until February. They were ordered in May of this year and had an original delivery date of October 27th. IES has about 6 to 8 weeks of work to complete once those switchers are delivered. Due to the work that's left, DGR has recommended that we change the substantial completion date to May 1st. That'll give them time this spring when the ground thaws out and they can get the substation finished. We agree with their suggestion, and they're working on a change order, so when they get that change order to us, we'll bring that to the council for approval. Per our contract with OC Sanitation, beginning January 2025, there'll be a $1 increase per customer, and that rate will remain until the end of the contract, which is December 31st of 2026. We recommend bringing an amended ordinance to the council, changing the amount of garbage collection from $19.50 to $20.50. This would just be a pass-through increase based on the contract we have with OC Sanitation. With 3 ordinance readings, the increase would go into effect in the March billing if it's approved by council. So you'll probably see that in January. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Chief DePriest.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Carol.
It's been a little bit of a busy couple of weeks, fielding quite a few phone calls. I guess announcing an open door policy does create a little activity. Anyway, so that's been busy. I have worked with another business on some flood issues, got them a little bit more squared away and moving forward, which will be wonderful. Worked with the SBA on a local business trying to get their loans pushed through. We are having a little trouble. SBA is unfunded at this time due to the government's issue. Hopefully some funding will come through here in the next few weeks and we get a few more of those people squared away. I've been working quite a bit with the Sioux County Fair Board, the new Sioux County Fairgrounds, and the Sioux County Supervisors, trying to get that project moved forward, writing a Destination Iowa grant for them, so that's been quite busy. Other than that, there are some issues down the road on the agenda that I might speak to you, but other than that, it's been busy.
Okay. Thank you, Carol. Jenny.
Nothing, thank you.
All right. We'll move on to council comments. Anyone
I have none.
wish to?
None.
Okay. Let's go on to other agenda items. Number 3, clarity on adjusting entries being made to our system as we convert from modified accrual to cash basis. It's your floor.
Good evening. My name is Chase Lotman. I'm with Williams & Company. I've been involved with the audit on and off over the past few years in various capacities. I was asked to come here and speak a few words, so this is very short. So now that the city's moving to cash basis financial statements, with the unadjusted numbers were provided, it became apparent that some prior year audit entries weren't entered into the city's software, and they needed to be posted. So we did that so that the city software matched the audited financial statements from last year, the beginning cash balances. Yeah, and as was previously said, it did reallocate some cash, but total cash has been correct. There's no creation of cash, no cash missing. We don't, there's no misappropriation of anything. It became important to get those entries in now that the change to the cash basis financial statements was happening. So that's all I got.
Questions for Chase?
I would just like to clarify some things. I've sat in a meeting with you, and I know that for several years, the auditor's adjustment journal entries weren't being made. Our cash with you and our cash with our bank is okay. It's just within the funds. Those entries weren't made, so their cash balances were off. Correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 5 years or?
Yeah, a number of years.
Yeah.
I trace some of the journal entries back.
Yeah, so you worked on the bigger ones and trying to, and that was my concern at the other meeting. I wasn't trying to throw past administration under the bus, but when I made that comment, I was just wanting to make sure that Tracy and Gary, or Tracy hadn't done anything wrong. And that we need to make those adjustments, and at that time, I thought, oh my gosh, is it going to affect our available cash to do things or to help with flood disaster? So that's where I was at.
Anything else?
Thank you for clearing that up for us.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chase.
Thank you.
Item 4 is budget introduction.
I will speak on that tonight. The budget timeline, everyone was given it. I want to make sure that everybody is aware of how important our meetings are going to be between now and April 23rd for the adoption of our budget. This is the same process that happened last year, which it was new last year in some of the areas. So it's simply just to let you know what is going to be coming down the road on those certain dates. So if you have questions, please let me know, but it's just for information as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I know kind of what's ahead.
So we are currently on time, right? Okay. Lots of different steps there to go through. Number 5 is city involvement in the housing buyout program.
We just wanted to keep this on the agenda for discussion. So moving forward, we need to know if we're going to be acting on 1, 2, or any housing buyouts. We don't have any for the Swift Current. So this would be the full FEMA buyout, purchase the property, demolition, and then the city would have to reimburse 15% of the total. 75 by FEMA, 10% through the state, and 15.
Is this list all the houses that the people want to see a buyout, or
It keeps,
or is it
it's
changing?
fluid, it keeps changing. There's probably 3 to 4 that are very interested in this program.
Okay.
Don't know, if that number would go up, go down, if we announce that we want to do it. And we can say we only want to do this area of town, or we only want to do 3 or 4 because of our financial situation. The option's ours. And then, plus it ultimately comes down to the homeowner. They have to want to do this program as well. So the next step, if we wanted to do it, would be an appraiser would come in and appraise the homeowners that absolutely wanted to do it. And then we'd get a commitment from them signed saying that they want to participate in this program and that they are volunteering to be in the program.
Have you heard much from the FEMA housing buyout program? I mean, or do we qualify to apply for that? And
Yes,
Okay,
we did
'cause I know you were waiting
we preliminary signed up, and I just put in 10 homes, kind of gave an estimate of the assessed value plus 15%, miscellaneous fees, and then the demolition cost, just to give us an idea, how many dollars amount we were talking about, so that we could include this on our FEMA application.
So it could cost us estimated $285,924 if
All
of them went,
right.
and if the assessments were
Yep.
right. Or
And there was one deduction that I didn't add into this. If a homeowner got money from insurance or from FEMA, that would be deducted off their cost of the buyout. So
really,
it
Yeah,
does,
so-
it does decrease this number a little bit.
Yeah, so if they took money before, then that gets adjusted off. of-
Yep, it's called a duplicate reimbursement, and they can't.
so it might not benefit some of them if they got very much money from FEMA. I mean,
Yeah,
It
they could still get
depends.
a little more.
it depends. Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends, I guess.
Yeah, every single one is every situation's different, every household's different,
Yeah, I know.
it's really
Every
hard to,
Value of
put it
the
all
home is
together.
different.
yep.
So what is the next step for the council?
I just need to know if I can reach out, or if we're not gonna do it at all, then I just need to let them know.
The process, once this gets going, is a quick one. So if the city is going to decide to proceed, and with whatever dollar amount they're going to decide on, once the process starts, it is rather quick, as far as from the time of the purchase agreement to demolition. So that's where the timing's going to be important, obviously, as we approach.
And it's still an application, so we apply for 4. It goes through, and hopefully by spring, they'll be approved. And then that's when we go through with the demolition phase and the buyout.
I think as a council, we're going to have to decide how many we want to do, first of all, or how much we want to put into it. And then the next thing would be the location of those homes. Is there any advantage for the city to own some of them versus other ones? And, you know, we do kind of have a map, and I think everybody's been reviewing that a little bit. So there's some that might make some sense as far as the location of them, and then there's some that maybe not make sense, but I think the dollar amount that we want to do is kind of critical. So.
What is your feeling about proceeding with applications?
I feel that, you know, if there's homeowners that want to do it, they should be able to fill it out, and then we decide, you know, from that list at that point.
I mean, there's several listed here, are you talking, have them all fill it out?
Well, they've already applied. Have
Well,
those all applied for it?
No, I have not put it out there, I've just garnered interest. And
I mean, are
and
we
some
going
of
to
these
do a certain number?
changed, you know, so really,
That's not
I know
fair
3
to
or
some
3 or
other
4.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
Yep.
Well, it might be helpful to know how many people are interested in it.
That would
I mean,
help a lot.
it's no guarantee that if you apply for it, that you're going to get it.
So,
Yep. So should I move tentatively forward with the 3, 4 that are strongly interested? And we'll see how that number, if it grows.
Yeah, and at this point, it doesn't commit us to anything, really.
No, we're just putting the packet together, the application.
there's like 3 or 4 that, have been vocal about wanting it.
Yes, yes.
And not necessarily all these at this
No,
point,
no.
yeah. Because some of them have been sold, maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That would probably be a good idea.
I think we should move forward with knowing how many that we might be looking at.
I'm going to agree with that, too.
And
Yep.
where we are going to get this money, or where it's coming from, or how we're going to pay for it.
Did I read, correct me if I'm wrong, if they have already sold their house, can the person that purchased the house also, no?
They could go for the buyout, but it would be, the appraisal would be as it sits right now.
Oh,
Okay,
not like the
Not-
before.
okay, thanks.
Everyone else is pre-disaster
Okay.
value.
Clarification, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else you need from us, Travis?
No, I'll continue and I'll work with those that are interested and we'll get the ball moving.
Good,
Okay, thanks.
thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6. This is the first reading of ordinance 753, or the ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Hawarden by adding a new subparagraph in chapter 69, providing for an additional no parking zone on Central Avenue. This would be no parking on Central Avenue between 7th and 10th Streets between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. And this is the first reading of the ordinance. Discussion.
Have we had people approach us on this
Yes.
to change
and-
this?
Oh, yes, correct. Yep.
and also factor in getting our crew out there to do the street sweeping and the snow removal. This will help them do their job as well.
Okay, and is there anything else besides the snow removal and the cleaning of the streets?
For this?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
The rationale?
No.
Okay. Currently, our ordinance provides for removal of all vehicles during a snow time, correct?
Yes.
So that currently applies to them. Is there a concern about parking for people who are living above the stores downtown? I know we're getting more apartments downtown. I'm wondering what our parking situation would be for them. Do you, okay, do you know?
No, have not
Okay.
investigated that.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. So the first reading, is there a motion?
I will motion to pass the first reading of ordinance 753.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor of passing the first reading of ordinance 753, please say aye.
Aye.
It's a roll call.
I'm sorry, roll call.
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay.
right. It's an ordinance.
Sorry. We'll start with Allen.
No.
Warner.
Aye.
Harvey is not here. Anderson.
Aye.
Clucky.
I guess for me, I'm going to vote no, but I think I'm voting no because I don't know what those other residents would feel at this time that do live there. We haven't really looked into a place for them to go, so that's why I'm saying no.
Okay. The vote is 2-2, and so it does not pass, correct? Okay. Does not pass the first reading at this time. Moving on. This is the first reading of ordinance 754, an ordinance amending Chapter 55 of Hawarden City Code, Animal Protection and Control. I'll turn this over to Christie.
Sure, thank you. So we spent, like John had mentioned, quite a lot of time on this. So thank you, Patty and Jenny, for helping me out with this. Basically, it's you've read it in the packet, what we're requesting. Like I said, we've made revisions, kind of tweaked it here and there where we needed to with some wording. So I'm bringing it to the table here tonight.
So is the main thing that, I think there was one main thing area you mentioned that John was concerned about.
Yeah, wanted to make sure that the police department has the ability to take the animal in possession, does not allow it to leave our city limits. So that's
Goes
a
in
big
the
part of it.
Until it's
Yes, correct.
resolved.
Correct. Mhm.
And I think another, correct me if you think I'm wrong, Christie,
Sure.
another bigger change too is upon a hearing or a request, it's really going to be the city council who's going to determine what happens, if the order for removal stays in place or not.
There's really no other changes, though?
We took out some language about definitions, just because they weren't applicable. But the biggest changes are the confinement after the incident, and then bringing it back before the council. After an order for removal, then they can appeal it, and it's going to come back before the council. That happened not that long ago.
Yeah, we already
Correct, yep.
did that.
It's going to
once.
be more on the council to be the judge and the jury in that regard.
You have anything to add, Chief?
I don't. I think our biggest concern is just that there's uniformity between both ordinance number 753 and the dangerous and vicious animals ordinance.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Then at this time, we'll have another roll call vote for the passage of the first reading of ordinance 754.
Oh, we need a motion.
I'm sorry, a motion first.
I'll motion for the first reading of ordinance 754.
I'll
And a-
second that.
Okay, thank you. And we'll go through the roll call vote then. Warner,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Clucky,
Aye.
Allen.
Aye.
Okay, the first reading has passed 4-0. Thank you. Moving on to number 7. Number 8. First reading of ordinance 755, an ordinance amending chapter 56 of Hawarden City Code, dangerous and vicious animals. Can we have a summary of the changes?
Again, it's just language in there saying that the peace officer or our police department has the ability to decide and to take action, gives them the ability, and again, it brings it back to us to decide what to do with the animal.
Questions, comments?
Is there anything breed specific in there this?
No breed specific.
Okay.
And I think in the definition, it took out fish or something like that.
Yes.
The one thing that this one did change, I believe it was this one and not the other one, is it specifies the police department. I think the last one had either a vet or it had some sort of agency that we simply don't have. So it put it in law enforcement's hand. Sorry, Brian.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
We'll do roll call vote here again. Anderson,
Aye.
Clucky,
Aye.
Allen,
Aye.
Warner.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. First reading has passed. Moving on, number 9, DGR pay request for substation project.
This is a pay request for work that was completed in November. And it's a payment request of $71,778.78. It includes a 5% retainage. The amount brings the total paid as of date, $1,219,920.94. This leaves $604,432.89 remaining on the contract. Percentage paid after this payment, 67%.
Questions? I'll take a motion.
So move.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to approve the pay request for substation project for completed work. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Thank you. Number 10, staffing city administrator position after January 29th, 2025. Gary will be leaving us at that time, and we need to know how to move forward. Discussion.
I was thinking at a previous meeting, we were going to start advertising. Maybe
That's what I recall as well.
It was discussed, but no motion.
No motion? Okay.
Nothing
So
had
you
gone
want like a-
forward.
okay.
They want to know a direction.
Okay.
How you want to handle it, where you want to go, what you're going to do.
Well, regardless, we need to, I mean, we have to advertise, and I guess we should start that as soon as possible.
Are you looking at hiring somebody right away in February? Is
You
that
mean when
is
he
that your
leaves?
intent? Yeah.
Oh. There isn't a lot of time, there's like, we got, what, 6, 7 weeks, or something like that?
I don't think we'll find somebody
No.
by then, I think.
We just
Yeah.
start the
But,
process,
I
and,
mean, I'm okay advertising for the position, but
Mm-hmm.
it's realistically, it's going to be March before you get anybody.
we'll be lucky to get it filled,
Yeah.
you know. Obviously, yeah, definitely.
March or April.
What are we gonna do about Jacob?
Didn't you say that
I assume he'll apply for it.
we had to give him the same job he had permanently before, the finance director? I was thinking that you had consulted, and that's what it was, am I right, or not? Or am I,
I did, and
Is that-
I sent that stuff to,
to Jenny or something?
the law, to Jenny
Yeah.
and Gary both for consideration, but we need to consider what we're gonna do based upon why, well, we already have a finance director, so we don't have a position for him to go back to, per se. So we need to take that into consideration as well.
So when Jacob left, he was acting as the interim city
Correct.
administrator. We had a separate contract for him for that specific period of time. So his position, his permanent position would have been the finance, and that interim city administrator was specific to that time frame.
I just want to make sure we comply with military rules and such. I'm not up on all that. If he has to have that back, or, do you know, Jenny?
If he has to have what back?
That finance director position, I mean.
He'd have to
you
have a position within the city similar to that position. Similar or better.
Yeah, I'd like to see him back in position here, so.
I wasn't sure I don't know, understand the military part. I mean, I haven't read up on it to know. I just want to make sure we're giving him what he's supposed to get, because he's in the military, you know.
And, Tracy has trained for the finance position and is doing a great job. I would like to see her stay in that position. I would like to plan on having Jacob in the city administrator position. He's had a little bit of experience with it in a difficult time where he was also doing the finance and doing training and military things, so that would be the cleanest way to do it, I believe.
I'd like to echo that, and I think, if you want to put a probationary period or, something, but he's one that's familiar with the staff, familiar with the process. I know it was a difficult time period, and it has been for a while, but all in all, he's done a fairly good job for us, so I really like to see him apply if we open it up, and I'd like to see him in that position for, at least interim again, and then if we want to do something different, then we can do that too.
Okay.
I agree with Rob on that one.
And
Give him the shake of the job that he was doing beforehand. If you got to put a probationary period in it, that's fine, but at least give him that opportunity.
has anybody talked to him to know if he even wants that?
I think the position needs to be opened up,
Yeah.
and he should
We
apply
have to
like
add,
anyone else.
yeah, we
Correct.
have to advertise, and he applies.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we got to go through that process.
Correct. And I think in the meantime, we have to think about what sort of interim position is put in place between a decision.
Yep.
Just because there are certain things that only the city administrator, whether it's the interim or whether it's the permanent one, that they can sign off on.
I agree. And Tracy, you've done a great job.
Yep.
She's done an excellent job. She knows her finance. So we start the process then of advertising, like Jenny said, and then go from there? Is that what you,
I think that's what Ginny said,
okay,
right?
Yeah, open it up and.
Open
Okay.
it up, let him apply, just like anybody else, and then, go from there.
okay.
Anything else?
Is there discussion on the interim between the 29th and when we hire someone?
That's going to be the hard
I
part.
think we're going to have to rely on you.
Yeah, that's why he asked.
Let it have Travis do it.
I think that with Tracy's willingness and help, I mean, we could weather the storm in between. Just
I know it's a
wanted
lot
that
to,
for
I know it's a lot to
clarification,
ask.
I guess.
I think,
I know it is.
for me, I'd like to see this, you two, be
You guys work
involved and
good
keep us
together and-
informed and kind of go from there. So,
So what we can do before the next meeting is put together a contract similar to what we did, and just, if you want those two to work together, we just have to have something in
Yeah.
place.
We did that before, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I
Twice.
guess that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
So.
Because they, both of them know pretty much what's going on.
And I didn't want to speak for you, Tracy, but
I know she's been pretty quiet. I'm waiting for her to say something.
Tracy, both of you are busy enough the way it is.
that's why I said together, I think. we could-
Yeah.
And we could always pull from Carol if we needed some help throwing something together for a meeting or.
I'm sure the girls up front will help too. I see some of them there.
They help already. They're good.
Okay. Is there consensus on that? Sounds like it is to move forward. I'm assuming we'd be adjusting some salaries for that extra responsibility.
What I think would be important is to put together, and I can work with the two of them, the duties that are outlined in the ordinance, maybe sort of divvy those up to give more clarity so that we're not in a position where one thinks the other one's handling it, and go that way.
That would be very good.
Thank you.
Okay, then, moving on to the discussion of flood-related items. Public assistance for the city.
We had park shelter still in there. I'm going to get another, basically a quote. These two quotes will go to FEMA. But when it boils down to, we will need some direction if we want to add a bathroom, change the layout, because they'll only pay us for
Same?
the same. Yep. So anything additional is going to be additional. But I know there's some grant opportunities, some other funding that would help us enhance the shelter. I did get the flood elevation back. We're going to have to raise it slightly over 2 feet
I bet.
in that area, but we should be able to feather that out, and it'll look nice, plus it'll keep us out of the water for future.
I think that size was pretty good for people, wasn't it?
It was,
Or with the-
definitely another bathroom was suggested,
Yeah,
some closet, some
see-
utility space for cleaning it.
Yeah, I could see
So I
closet. and-
don't think a big change, you know?
Yeah, I guess I thought that was a nice size for, we've used it, I've been there when other people used it. I mean, it seemed to be a good size. It's not too
Yep.
small, but it's not so large.
And then we'll have to go out, when we actually get the plans ready, we'll have to do a formal bidding on that, so.
Okay.
I'm hoping this winter we can hash out the design, the layout, and then go to bid this spring and hopefully break ground right away.
That would
Because
be
that's
nice.
it's an amenity that is
On that,
needed.
The only concern that I ever heard with that shelter house was the air conditioner.
Yeah,
Yep, we're,
Maybe put in a central air unit rather than a window unit because it's so loud.
yeah.
yep, we're talking,
Other than that, nothing but good things about it.
yep, a regular furnace and AC,
Yeah.
also with
Nice.
duct and everything, like a regular building, so.
The state has already stated that they will help in a grant process to pay for part of the shelter house and to pay for upgrades. FEMA only will pay for returning the existing structure. So we've kind of gotten some motion going as far as improving that and getting that a little bit nicer for everyone. Also, they have also got traction on helping with the FEMA buyout, 15% that the cities are going to be required to. There's quite a bit of money that's coming available to the city in regards to those expenses. I know we won't have that many houses that were on that list, but I don't think we need to be afraid to offer things up or improve things. I think we'll be successful.
I mean, if we get, is that the Iowa Public Assistance?
No,
It's something separate?
separate.
Okay. Yeah, I think that size was good, and putting those definitely in the furnace and air conditioner and bathrooms and closets.
Yeah, there's some little things that
Yeah.
we definitely, now's the time to make those additions and make it better.
Thank you. I just
Yep.
bring us a proposal and go from there.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I like the size of it now.
Yep.
Just add all those extras.
Yeah.
Are there any other public assistance projects? Looking at the tennis courts?
Yeah, that was one of them, to
Yeah.
get that resurfacing. So
Yeah.
I've got 2 bids on that, and actually I have one more waiting. So it's just getting all these together and submitting them.
Okay.
The FEMA trailer's not sure. I think this could probably be taken off. That's,
Is,
That's already done.
yeah, it's
Completed.
done, completed.
I didn't know if we were getting more or something, is that,
No.
Okay.
No.
One thing to add to those FEMA trailers, we need to start considering what we're gonna do come next December for people that wanna keep them because they can't stay there. We don't wanna kick that down the road or have it be November and go, well, now we gotta do something with this, so. I know Gary brought it up once before, it's something to think about.
that's true. We
Yep.
do ahead of time. We
Yep.
need to think of that and let them know that.
We are talking with private investors,
Oh, good.
pushing them to create a new trailer court.
Somewhere.
We've got an area kind of picked out, but obviously we would come to council
Sure.
before anything happens, but
FEMA won't let them stay where they're at
they,
No.
no.
after that year. So
Yep.
they got to get moved to a different location.
I have had an investor come to me to buy the land where the trailers sit already. There's already been some interest in that as well, so I think it should turn out to be okay.
Good.
Yeah.
We'll just keep plugging away.
Any other discussion on flood-related items? If not, we'll go on to our consent agenda, a request from Sportsman's Lounge, and Hawarden Golf Clubhouse for temporary premise transfer to the Hawarden Community Center on December 21st. And is everything in order?
Currently, we're still, it's pending dram shot until this, ABD releases it. What they'll do is, once they've received the information on the insurance, and it's all been approved, they'll release it to the public authority, and if you give approval tonight that, yes, we're moving forward, once that comes to me, I will release it.
Okay.
And that gives them the go-ahead for that, because we are not having another meeting, so this is our only opportunity if we're going to allow this to go forward. It's nothing unusual or anything different.
No, it's just that you got to get your
It's just
necessary.
yeah, it's probably 1 or 2 steps before we normally see
Yeah.
it, so.
I'll make a motion, we approve it pending the final review from Dream Shop or whatever it is.
And I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the request from Sportsman's Lounge pending the Dram Shop review, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Thank you. At this time, we are at the end of our agenda. Would take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
In a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. We are adjourned. The next regular council meeting is January 8th, 2025. Thank you all for attending and for watching.